Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Well, are hundreds of people missing out on a second chance when it comes to marijuana possession charges? It's been 2 months since the Harris County District Attorney introduced a new program that would leave first-time pot smokers without a criminal record. This is for those who have a small amount of weed, up to 2 ounces, for personal use only. 211 people have qualified for the program. It would allow first-time marijuana offenders to enter an intervention program to get the charges dismissed. But those who have already been affected by this will not be able to participate in the program. Is that fair? That's our topic this half hour. We wanted to hear from you on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, joining us live in the newsroom is our Roundup panel led by Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tritico. Hi, Chris.
Hi, good morning. You know, the question, is it fair? Really, the answer is that's just life. This happens all the time when new policies and new laws come into effect. The people that have already been adjudicated and already handled their cases can't take part in a new policy because we can't undo the wheel. And they're not going to go back, and they're not going to allow people to undo their convictions or their other probations if they've already done them. Now, quite frankly, most people that are young people that would have been in this program, we're probably getting a pretty good deal, like a pretrial diversion anyway. I can't remember in 26 years of practicing law the last time I had a young person with a small amount of marijuana that got anything worse than a pretrial diversion. And so they're not really affected that badly. But moving forward, this is a good policy and a good step forward, and it's really in line with what the entire United States has been discussing with respect to marijuana and moving beyond making criminals out of people with small amounts of marijuana. Let me introduce Mustafa Tamiz, our political analyst, Jackie Bally, our public policy analyst. Now, Devon Anderson introduced this program while she was running for re-election and said that she wants them arrested, then they're going to get released, some community service, do a little diversion, then they can have their case dismissed.
Yeah, I think it's a great policy. I'm glad that she's implementing it. You said the entire country, 74% is the number we saw. They agree that we need to move in this type of direction and have new policies in place, especially for infractions of small amounts of marijuana. I mean, $51 billion is what we use on this war on drugs, and a large percentage of it is fighting marijuana. This will help us to look at our resources more closely, and this will make sure that people who did make a mistake, if they really feel it's a mistake, a one-time mistake, they have an opportunity to start over.
What about the guy who finished his marijuana case in December and hadn't read the paper or hadn't watched the Roundup debate and didn't know this was going to happen?
That could never happen.
That's right.
If he had a good lawyer, the lawyer would have known. Look, this is the right direction, but there are a couple of things about this that I hope the DA considers as she moves forward. One, when you arrest someone now, it's on the internet. It affects their ability to get a job because that stays forever. Even though the record is not there, there's so many companies now that share this data. So we have to start thinking about, do we want to arrest that person, bring them into our system, which again, there's a cost to taxpayers, or do we want to use the first offense as a citation instead? So that saves us a lot of money and maybe keeps somebody out of the system.
But Devon Anderson's plan says, look, I want them to have some skin in this game. I want them to understand that this is serious, and I want them to think about their conduct. That's why the arrest.
Yeah, and look, I think I agree with her that they should have a skin in the game, but at the same time, the volume of cases that go through our court system is phenomenal and at a really high cost to the taxpayers. So as she moves in this direction, which is kind of like a pilot program that she's doing,
right.
There's about 200 people that have gone through it
right.
already. I think it's important to see the data and see if we are able to then
do it. All right.
But I agree with her. I think that the fact that they did break the law, they do need to have a skin in the game. I think she's doing it exactly right.
All right, let me go to Hillary. She's monitoring our social media.
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter running wild with this topic. A lot of people asking the question, will Texas ever catch up with laws that we see in other progressive states?
You know, we've discussed this for a couple of years now on this show, and I said initially that no, that wouldn't happen, and then the governor proved me wrong when he said he was in favor of decriminalizing it. And so I don't know when the legislature is going to catch up, Jackie Bally, but I think that it's coming nationwide.
We all said no.
Right.
And then
That's right.
and all of a sudden it just started, the trend started coming.
Within a couple of months.
I think that what we're going to see with Texas, that we're going to take a lot of what the other states have done and we're going to make it Texas style. And I think the fact that what we're discussing here, the fact that we are going to put you in jail because you are breaking the law, you're going to know that you're breaking the law, but then we're still going to give you a break. If you really want to make positive changes, you have that opportunity. So I think we're going to see the mistakes that some of these other states have made and just make sure that it complies to our Texans in the way we.
I haven't heard the legislature, anyone in the legislature discussing that this session.
This session, this is not going to be talked about. But I think in terms of this policy, it affects people that of means very different than people that don't have any means. If you come from a wealthy family and you're smoking marijuana, you're going to get a Christian or you're going to get a good lawyer to represent you.
And that's fine with me.
And you're going to get your record expunged and a lot of other things happen. But if you're coming from a poorer neighborhood, the system acts very differently towards you. And that's why I think we need to be more progressive in the direction we take this legislation.
Well, I think everyone who's thinking of breaking the law, they need to know that there's something attached to breaking the law.
There might be something happening to you down the line. All right, we're going to leave it right there. We'll be back in just a little bit to talk about the president's move on Cuba.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We look forward to that indeed. Well, we're going to be right back with a look at your 7-day forecast, so be sure to stick around for that.